Welcome to Channel 5 News at 5. Today we'll be talking about the famous exploration of Lewis and Clark.
That's right. After the famous and controversial Louisiana Purchase of 1803, citizens were quite anxious to explore the territory that was bought and what laid west of it.
President Thomas Jefferson decided to send two qualified explorers out to the Oregon coast to map out the terrain and ensure that it's safe for future settlers.
These two explorers were Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. In spring of 1804, they led a group of 45 men to map and research the land.
Later we'll be discussing some interesting discoveries and experiences that the group took on, but for now we'll turn over to our field reporter, Janet, who is on the scene in Idaho with a special guest.
Thank you. Today I'm here on the Trail of the Explorers with the famous William Clark, who is here to describe to me some of his experiences. Clark, what hardships did you and the other explorers face?
Indeed, I was at one time fearful my feet would freeze in the thin moccasins which I wore. The snow made it much worse to proceed.
Wow, the weather must have been difficult to deal with. Is there anything else that makes this expedition so difficult?
I walked on the hills to hunt all day, only saw one deer, could kill nothing.
Yes, heading through the Rocky Mountains was certainly a challenge for the band of explorers, especially since the snow meant that much of the game was in hibernation. What were you able to eat?
Provisions were all out, which compelled us to kill one of our horses to eat and make soup for the sick men.
Wow, okay.
Thank you, Janet. What an honor to be able to meet the William Clark on his journey. Now for a segment on some interesting facts about Lewis and Clark's expedition. As a number one, we found that the name of the explorers is the Corps of Discovery.
Those who went on the trip had to eat up to 8 pounds of meat per day to keep up with their stamina.
All of the food went to good use, as the explorers had to travel an average of 10 miles per day while moving along the Mississippi River.
Last but not least, as some may know, Lewis and Clark had a fairly helpful relationship with the Native American tribes that the Corps encountered. They met a Shoshone woman named Sacagawea who knew English and guided the men on their journey. An excerpt from one of the men's journals described how she recovered supplies from an overturned canoe in the Mississippi.
The article which was floated out was nearly all caught by the squaw who was in the rear. This accident had like to have cost us dearly, for in this pirogue were embarked our papers, instruments, books, medicine, and great proportion of our merchandise. And in short, almost every article dispensably necessary to further the views or ensure the success of the enterprise in which we are now launched for the distance of 2,200 miles. Overall, the legacy that the explorers left behind paved the way for thousands of future pioneers to cross to the westward territory.
Thank you for watching Channel 5 News at 5. I hope you enjoyed.